What's up, guys? Shay Stevens here, PDGA number 77522, and today I'm here with an update for my proposal for a course in Pleasant Hill Park. Let's get to it. So if you've been following my channel, you'll know I've been working on proposals for courses in two of my local parks. Now, I had originally written off Pleasant Hill Park. My main concern was the footprint was so tight and safety was an issue, but after meeting with my local civic association, they asked if I could go back and take another look, and I ended up walking my original idea for a layout backwards, and there was a lot more potential there. So I filmed around doing that, playing that layout. You can check that out right here. But during that round, I did find some major issues. Like I had to scrap one hole completely. I just felt I was forcing players to either throw into the water or throw at a walking path, both of which are kind of no-nos. So since then, I've just been going back to Pleasant Hill whenever I could, even with just one disc after work, and just playing the layout over and over again, just trying to fine tune things. I wanted to see if I could find a new hole to replace the one I was cutting out, and also I wanted to see the holes I liked, were they still good holes. I'll play a lefty round even just to try to throw the most horrible shot possible to see am I staying away from walking paths, parking lots, all that good stuff. I probably put in somewhere 12 to 15 rounds since that video. Unfortunately, I got COVID around Thanksgiving, and then I had a respiratory tract infection right after Christmas, so time has been limited, but I have put in a good number of rounds there, and I have made some significant changes to the layout. So before we get out to the round, I have this little overhead preview so you guys can see what we're working with. Let's check it out. All right, starting off, the first major change you're going to note is original hole 1 is no more. After playing a few rounds, I had a few bad shots get within 20 feet of the parking lot, and that is just too close for comfort for me. I tried offsetting the tee pad a little bit, but that just brought the rugby pitch more into play. So in the end, I decided to take that one offline for now. Might be able to rework it later, but for now, original hole 2 becomes hole 1. The notable change on this one is I just moved the basket about 20-25 feet to the left of my original position. This is, again, to discourage players from possibly going towards the parking lot. As you can see, all paved surfaces and park limits are out of bounds, so the parking lot and Linden Avenue are your boundaries. But by moving the basket to the left a little bit more, it just encourages players to follow the shot shape that I've drawn here out to the left and draw it back to the right to the basket, because your misfire will actually keep you inbounds on the left. And if you're playing to the left and you misfire early, you're still inbounds on the right. So that is the change for hole 1. On to hole 2, nothing has changed with this design. I did get confirmation that that baseball field is out of commission, as you can see from the satellite view. The field's all grown in, so it has been used for a while. So no worries about interfering with play there. But the shot is still a nice left to right shot. Newer players can just play out towards the baseball field and then have an upshot for an easy par. There's also a low line that runs along the trees, but it's a very tricky shot controlling the elevation. You're more likely to hit the tree and get knocked down. And again, the street on the right is playing as out of bounds. All right, hole 3 should look very similar. However, there were some changes. So first off, I moved the tee pad up about 20 feet. I had it originally positioned about parallel to the basket of 2. And I went to the park when it was raining just to see how the water was flowing. And it was basically pooling right where I had put the tee pad. So you don't want to put a tee pad in a wet spot. So moved it forward to a drier section to hopefully alleviate that issue. I actually like having the tee pad up a little bit further. It gives you a better line of sight of the Baxter Trail there, that walking path on the left. So that way you'll be able to see if there are any pedestrians coming down that way. Players will know to yield to them. I also moved the basket forward about 20-some feet. You'll see on the left there is a pumping station, and I was well away from that in my original design, but I've noticed there are now spray-painted lines all around this area, so they're working on something. I don't know if they're just going to be, digging the pipes up and redoing them, or if they are actually installing another pump station. So need to find out what's happening there, but either way, I should be able to adjust. There's plenty of space to work here. Out of bounds, again noted, Linden Avenue, out of bounds. The Baxter Trail, the rule of thumb is all paved surfaces and across in parks are out of bounds, so all that whole left side also plays out of bounds, just to encourage players to play up the right-hand side and then fade back into the basket on the left. All right, hole 4 should look pretty similar. The only difference is I did move the tee pad to the left about 15 to 20 feet, just to kind of open the shot up a bit more, give players a little more airspace to work with, and also give them a better line of sight for the walking path, just to make sure if there's any bike riders or pedestrians coming, they know to yield. We will play hole 4 as an island hole, so you have to land your shot on the grass to be considered inbounds. We're using the walking trails and the water on the bottom as the defining lines. If you don't land on the island, you have to play from a drop zone, which I will probably be putting somewhere around that light pole, and that's where players will play their third shot after the penalty. All right, so hole 5 is a brand new design. You'll be seeing it for the first time. It's basically the front half of old hole 6, which I had to scrap. I took the basket and put it on this nice hill right in the middle of that green space, so that adds a little bit of danger to your shot. You got to make sure you come and land flat, or there's the risk of rollaways. And I also pulled the tee pad back a little bit just across the path up on its hillside, which added an element of elevation change, which the course was kind of lacking. So it's just a simple little downhill left to right shot. Playing as an OB island again, there's OB all around it. If you fail to land your drive on the island, there is a drop zone that'll be probably by that bush on the left-hand side. But this is one of the newer elements in my design. I've only played this one about 3 times so far, so I am still working on it, just trying to intentionally throw bad shots to see if there's anything I missed. All right, on to hole 6, which was original design hole 7. So because I pulled the basket back on the previous hole, that allowed me to pull the tee pad on this hole back a little bit, just to create a better angle, so players have more space to work with without risk of going out of bounds. And I also pulled the basket in a little bit. I used to have it tucked in that peninsula there on the left, so I pull it out into the open space again, just to reduce the risk of players going into that thick rough on the left or even the water, and also while still maintaining a buffer from the OB on the right-hand side. All right, like I said at the end of my last video, I cut the par 5 into 2 holes just because I didn't need a par 5, so hole 7, pretty simple. Basket's in the open, but there is some thick rough behind it, so if you overshoot your target, that can be punishing. And then I did pull the tee pad down off of the utility road just to try it out in the grass, and it does change the shot up. OBs on this hole play as the park boundaries to the north and the water to the south. All right, hole 8 is basically the back half of my original par 5. So players will be teeing off near that sitting area by the pond, and they will have to navigate a tunnel while working the disc to the left to get to the basket. But they got to be careful. Again, water plays out of bounds, and that road along the backside is also out of bounds. And wrapping up hole 9, should look very similar to my original design. All I've done is take the tee pad and move it off of the walking path forward into the grassy area to change the shot up a little bit. It opens the angle up a bit just to give players more room to work to the right to allow them to get to the basket and keep them away from that OB on the left. And now that we've wrapped up the overhead previews, let's head over to the park to see how it plays.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Pleasant Hill Park. I finally have some decent weather. It's on the cold side, a little wet, but I can actually play, which is nice. Here to do an update on my layout for my proposal for a course. I probably already covered this in the intro, but yeah, if you're looking, this is old hole 2, now hole 1. Original hole 1 I scrapped it after playing a ton of rounds, throwing some really bad shots. I felt the parking lot was played too much and the rugby space as well. I wouldn't leave that field for the players, so hole 2 is now hole 1. Only change I've made here is the basket. You'll see I've moved it more to the left, again, just to discourage players from trying to play out to the right, possibly getting thrown by the wind. There's a bit of a breeze, and the wind tends to come from this direction towards the parking lot. So I want to make sure that, keep the parking lot well buffered. So basket's off to the left now. Pretty easy starting hole. Just a straight shot. You can play out to the left as a safe play. But again, if you play safe, you're left with a longer, birdie opportunity. So got to balance that risk reward. Start off. And we're off. So first throw out the car. Wind got me a little bit. I probably shorted it, but got a putt. No chains. On to hole 2. This hole hasn't changed from the original design. Just a nice simple shot out to the left, draw it back to the right. I am toying with the idea of possibly combining this hole with the next hole to make it into a par 4, but we'll see. This is a 10-hole layout if I haven't already mentioned it in the intro. So this does leave me some wiggle room to either drop a hole if it becomes an issue or to combine 2 holes to make something. But for now, keeping this one just as is, it's fine. So a nice forehand up the left. Pretty textbook. Right, on to the next one. On to hole 3. Changes I made to this hole, I shortened it up a little bit. Also, I saw a lot of markings on the ground up by that infrastructure, and it looks like they might be adding some more. So I pulled the basket up and to the right a bit more, just to keep it away, and also to keep the walking path on the left. That plays, if you're on it or across it, you're out of bounds. And as always, the limits of the park, so the roads all around here are also out of bounds. So just kind of straighten the hole up a little bit, gave some more wiggle room for error left or right. Just be a nice little putter shot though.
As you can see here, they have a whole bunch of stuff marked off. No idea what they're planning to do here, but if they're doing something, I'm going to stay away. Like I said before, I do have the option of combining holes 2 and 3. So we can adjust as needed. I will try to get some info on what's going on here and report back.
Alright, so here on hole 4, I'm trying just a different tee pad area. I was over there about 20 feet. In the first video, I think this is a safer shot, gives you a better line, see walkers, keeps you off the path more likely, and also gives you a little more buffer for the water. The only thing I would have done is, depending on which one we go with, I would have this bench moved either 5 feet that way if we use this tee pad, or if we use that one, have it move 5 feet this way, just so that way, if somebody's sitting here enjoying, a picnic or whatever, they're not disturbed by the disc golfer. So I would shimmy this picnic table one way or the other. We'll figure that out. Ooh, saw a little bit of that one went long. Left a little work for myself. Muddy. Yeah, so like I said at the end of my last video, I cut out what was hole 6 in my design just because it brought the walking path on the left way too into play. The water was pretty much, was the safe miss, so I didn't want people throwing into the water. So I actually found this line, which is pretty neat. Thrown from up here on the hill. Basket's in there up on a little mount, so it's nice and dry even when it's wet, which is nice. And again, just nice clear views, you can see everything coming. Actually have some kids over here on the left. I'm happy. There's a lot of people out today, so I actually see people how they're walking through the park. So it's a fun shot though, because you have that ceiling with the tree limbs coming over top, and this bush right here on the right, so it really does make you throw this nice left to right shot. Turn that one a little bit over, but we're putting. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. Actually, that was a really bad shot, and I'm still over 20 feet from the path, which is gold by design to make sure even bad shots don't mess with anyone else in the park. So, bad shot, long look at birdie. And drop it in. So for this hole, I just kind of brought the basket in to the left more, made it a little more visible. That's kind of the extreme of where I would put it. I'm probably going to end up settling somewhere in between my original position and where it currently is. And again, if this hole does make the cut, the only thing I would request would be the bench over there on the left, be moved. I have never seen anybody sitting on it. Again, I've still got to put more time in here. I want to go through a summer here at Pleasant Hill, see how active that bench is. But it seems like most people kind of just hang out over in their cars in that parking lot, or they prefer the bench over here because it's newer. This bench is kind of old and beat up. It's stone, and a bunch of it's been chunked off. So I would just move it to discourage people from sitting there. There's actually a pad over here on the left. Looks like it used to be where a bench was, and there's not one there. So if we could slide it over there, it would be well out of the way, and that'd be cool. But yeah, it's a nice straight shot. Road behind it is always out of bounds. So you can either go something that's low and straight at it, or you play out left and try to draw it back into the right. Yep. That'll work. Alright, as I said in my first video, I'm cutting this hole in half. I don't need to be a par 4 all the way around the pond. So the first one's just a simple shot here into the field. Danger on the left is trees and water. Danger on the right is OB fence, which should not come into play at all, honestly. You have to try to throw over that to get to it, honestly. And if you're trying to, you're an idiot. You're not getting your disc back. You're throwing over a barbed wire fence. Good luck. So yeah, for this one, it's going to be a simple putter shot. Oh, I am changing the tee pad up too. Just seeing how this looks, how it plays. From the original position I threw was up on the road where you guys are sitting right now, and the park might not want us there for whatever reason. So trying out down here, it does change the shot up big time. From there, you're above the basket, so your disc has more travel time in the air. From here, I'm actually throwing slightly uphill, so it does affect the shot. Putter. Straight at it. All right, let's clean this up. All right, on to the next hole. Again, cut the hole in half. So this is basically where the ideal drive would have landed, and the upshot's just around the corner here. Basket's in front of that boxed off area. Just a nice little right to left shot. I have a lot of, it feels like left to right. I'm trying to keep the course as balanced as possible, righties and lefties, forehands, backhands. So this one's going to be aim out here and then let this just naturally fade off to the left if you're a right-hand backhand player. Go on the long side. Let's clean it up. Okay, here's a good putt. All right, everyone, final hole. I can split this area up into 2 holes if I need to, but for now we're keeping it as 1. And mixing it up by throwing off the grass instead of the road, same reason as before. Yeah, nice shot. You have framed up here between the trees. Got to make sure you keep it low, fast to get to the basket. Mid-range low. Good shot. I'll be honest, I'm really hoping I don't have to split this into 2 holes because I really enjoy that shot. It's just a really cool tunnel shot to finish with. Really nice spot just to finish with the park, see everything. But yeah, this is where I'm currently at with my proposal for a layout. I've been putting this together for a few months now, so game plan is just keep playing this layout, keep finding problems, keep fine-tuning things, tweaking, but yeah, I'm going to keep working on it. If you guys see anything that, things that might be, a cool addition to the course or things I should be aware of that, safety and such, please let me know down in the comments. But yeah, back to Shay.
So like I said, the plan moving forward is just to keep playing this layout over and over again, trying to find issues I might have missed and address them as needed. Now, I gotta say, I'm happy with the progress of the layout. It is a much better layout than the first one, so I'm happy about that. My two big issues right now are hole 3, that infrastructure on the back side of the green. I just gotta find out what's going on there. If they're expanding that infrastructure area, that's not a problem. There's enough space there for me to work. I just gotta see what I'm working with, so I'll ask around, see if I can get some information about that. And the second one is just, it just irks me. I just hate that I have walking paths going through holes 4 and 5. I followed the old standard of if you had to do that, you put the T-pad right there so that way players can easily see if pedestrians are coming and yield to them because they have the right of way. But it's just, if I could avoid it, I would. But as you've seen and as I've stated, it's a really tight footprint, so I got to work with what I got. So, I'm going to keep playing it. I'm really hoping for some good weather. I was actually surprised that day. It was just above freezing, and there's a good number of pedestrians in the park, so good to see. And I did get to see some of the flows of the park, but I need to see this place like on a beautiful spring day, fully loaded, just to make sure that my proposal is sound. So hopefully we'll get some good weather soon, but with that being said, you guys won't be seeing probably an update for some time. I am also going to be sharing this video out to the designer groups just to get their feedback, and I'll probably be sharing it with some of my local course designer friends, get their feedback, maybe get them over to the property as well, just give me some more input, some of their thoughts and ideas. And if you guys have any input for me, any insights you'd like to share, please drop it in the comments below. I'd really appreciate that. But yep, I'm going to keep grinding on this one, guys. So stay tuned. In the future, I'll have a version 3 proposal probably. So look forward to that. And just want to say thank you for all your support. If you have any questions for me, reach out. I'll do my best to answer them. Take care.
Thank you to my sponsors. For all your disc golf needs, check out Phoenix Discs and Foundation Disc Golf.